We're floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. Hi, welcome to the Wingmen Show. My name is Drew Brown. We hope to inspire, entertain, and learn something so we can all make this world a better place for our children. I'd like to introduce to you somebody who's my friend, my wingman, my main man, and I have a wingman watching my back, Dr. Paul Thompson. Hey, Paul, what's happening?
Oh, not much. Hello, everyone. I'm Paul Thompson, and you just heard from Mr. Drew Brown, Dark Gable. He's the American dream. He's the man, the myth, the legend, the pilot's pilot, the role model's role model, and most importantly, his royal fullness. How are you doing today, Mr. Dark Gable?
I'm doing great, and I'm glad I'm full of knowledge, Paul. I'm glad I'm full of knowledge. Well, we're going to have a great show right now. Check this out. Dr. Paul, how are you, my brother?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, Mr. Drew, on this fine day?
I'm doing great, man. Good to see you again, and I can't wait for your wingman story at the end of this show. I really can't wait.
Okay. Well, it's a good one. It's an inspiring one, and it shows that sometimes big men can really have a big heart.
Wow, good one. Well, I started off my day on the Peloton. I did weight training today. You want to know what really bothers me? When the instructor's talking, when he's supposed to be doing the same thing I'm doing. That's when you know you're working hard. But coming off that Peloton show, I was thinking about it. First of all, please, everybody, can you please review us on Apple Podcast? That will help out the Wingmen Show. And that's important to Dr. Paul and I. So let's go to this Olympics we're having. We cheat a lot here in America. So I'm not throwing stones at anybody because the steroids and sports and everything. So we've cheated. So let me not make we're better than anybody else. But the Russians, when they cheat blatantly, somehow they still get away with it. They get to blatantly get kicked off the Olympic totally. You can't come in. They've been, I don't know how many years they're out of the Olympics. So they come in with a changed name. Now, this girl who is supposed to be the mega bomb, she's supposed to be like awesome. She got caught doping. The test didn't come back fast enough, whatever. So you know what their punishment is? This is crazy, Doc. This is crazy. She can compete, and if she wins, they won't have a ceremony. So what she's literally doing is hurting the other two athletes, which is amazing that the Olympics or anybody would think of a punishment like that. You get your medal, but you just don't have a ceremony. So you're robbing two winners, a second and a third, or a first and a second, or a first and a third. You're robbing them of their moment in time. What do you think, Dr. Paul?
It's kind of nutty, and that you know what she's banned for? She's banned for a substance, I don't know, tyrosine. It's basically something for heart problems, and it's a series of medications for heart problems. And why would a 15-year-old Olympic athlete have heart problems? And her excuse or reason was that it was her grandfather's medicine, and she might have brushed up against it or something like that. But on further analysis, she's got it's several substances, and it's all for heart stuff. And the real smart people who have analyzed it say, well, she may not have heart problems, but it's something that might increase endurance. Wink, wink.
Correct.
Now you might remember that lady Sha'Carri Richardson, who ran in the Summer Olympics.
Yes.
She was banned because she was basically smoking marijuana to relax. And I don't think that's known as a performance-enhancing drug. But anyway, she failed the drug test, and she couldn't participate. Now, they say this young Russian skater, her name Kamila Valeva, I think, I'm not saying the last name right, but first name is Kamila, that she could participate because she's a protected person under the age of 16. I don't
Right.
know what
She's
that.
15 years old.
I don't know what that means. A protected person would you get what no traffic ticket to? I don't know what that means.
No, it's a new rule that they just made up to protect her.
Okay, obviously she's okay. Well, at least they're honest about it. She's a protected person, and the thing with the Russians is they changed the name so that the Russian Olympic Committee. So you say, what happens if a Russian person wins a gold medal? Well, typically they play the national anthem of the country, but this year, if a Russian wins a gold medal, they won't play the Russian national anthem. They'll play Tchaikovsky's Concerto Number One.
Oh
Not,
my God.
not number
That's
two, but
like the
number
worst
one.
punishment in the world.
Yes, yes. So and the ban runs out at the end of this year. This started
Oh
in
my
like
goodness.
2017. It runs out at the end of 2022.
First of all, let me ask you this. I heard weed doesn't really want to make you run faster. Kind of, it doesn't want to make you practice or run at all.
Right.
I didn't understand that. That's not performance enhancing whatsoever. Might
Yeah.
be medication for pain and things like that. But okay, anyway,
Yeah.
how
Did you
about
know?
this one?
Did you know? I mean, did you know any 15-year-olds were on heart medication when you were growing up?
No, of course not. And here's the worst part. She's a phenom. So she is super great trying to get greater.
Mhm.
Maybe like some baseball players did in our
I've heard.
country.
I've heard.
You think so? I
Yeah.
take the fifth. Yeah, one guy took the fifth and thinks that because he took the fifth, he never said he did. Amazing. It's just like, Prince Andrew just settled a sexual lawsuit for money that he supposedly, wink, wink to winky wink, supposedly be giving to her charity.
Okay.
Okay, does that just mean that you did it?
Yeah, I did. I don't think Prince Andrew's going to be one of the wingmen, but
No, I don't think Prince Andrew is going to be a wingman. I'm sorry to say that's a wingman who would shoot your ass down. That's not the kind of wingman you want. And let's get to good news again. Did you watch the Super Bowl?
I did watch Super Bowl. I enjoyed it.
It was the bomb. And I'm going to say it, and I love it. And it's brought back a lot of memories, and it made me do some really hard thinking. This is the best halftime show I ever saw in my life. The best halftime show. Prince is number 2.
Okay.
But I'm not kidding. This was a great halftime show. And it's because I love the music. That means when a country western star is doing the halftime show, I don't think it's that great, but there are people who love it and say the same thing I said.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and Jay-Z, and I got to say, I'm a New Yorker. Jay-Z's the bomb as far as a rapper, and man, he put out some really good music a long time ago, actually. He's kind of gotten a little different now, but whatever. Jay-Z wore an LA baseball cap, and that pissed me off. I'm a New Yorker. You're a New Yorker. I'll be goddamn if I ever wear somebody else's baseball hat. I don't even wear other people's jerseys. Yeah, unless, the only jersey I have that actually is somebody else's is number 17 for the New York Giants, but the guy's name was Brown. So it's my name. I only wear my name. Why would I wear somebody else's name? Except I do wear Jackie Robinson's and I do wear Mickey Mantle's. Those are the two people. But I don't just go around wearing, people wear all kind of jerseys because they look good.
Right.
Every time I see somebody with a Yankee cap, I go, who's playing second base this year? Oh, man.
No clue.
I like wearing it, man. It's cool. I said,
Right.
it's not cool.
Well, Jay-Z, I mean, but they probably have mansions plural in the LA area. I bet they do. Well,
Jay-Z and Beyonce?
Yeah, I'm sure they could.
Oh, 100%. The point is that people change with money, people change with time, people change. And the way he used to brag about the New York cap is why I'm really kind of upset. He bragged that, I'm a New Yorker for life. This is it. This is how I roll.
Mm-hmm.
He said he would never take off the do-rag once.
Mm-hmm.
You see his hair now?
Yeah. Well, things change, and people aren't getting younger. They're older. different business interests, different images.
Remember, we had a show about everybody has their time.
Yes.
You know, a lot of guys who make good music don't make music anymore. Their time's over.
Your time's over, and you just play the greatest hits till, for the next 300 years.
Yes, that halftime show was the bomb. Eminem, I saw him kneeling. I thought it was part of him kind of get out of the way, but they're saying it was in honor of the NFL protest.
Mm-hmm.
You know, Kaepernick. I thought he was just trying to get out of the way, but
Yeah,
I thought the music was bumping.
I thought it was good. There's a lot of stuff I liked. I enjoyed it, and it goes back a ways. That's some of the original stuff. Again, looking at the people performing, they could just about all of them except Eminem have an AARP card. So they were doing this when they were basically like half their age for the most part.
Eminem's getting mail from the AARP right now, though. I'll tell you that.
Probably so. But I didn't notice the knee thing. I thought he was just bowing out of the way and transitioning to the next deal.
No, I had to read it too.
Okay, yeah, okay, fine. It doesn't affect anything. No, it was a good show. I enjoyed the show.
Go ahead, Paul.
No, I enjoyed the show. I like the music. I always like that California song a lot.
Yes.
That's a good thing.
Snoop Dogg was looking good too. So was Dr. Dre. You notice when you're a billionaire, you don't wear gold and diamonds and chains anymore. Jay-Z doesn't wear gold and diamonds and chains anymore. You change.
It's irrelevant. They probably
when you have big money, you know what you're trying to do all the time? Yeah. Not look like you have big money.
Right. Exactly. If he's got a wallet with him, he probably has less than $100 in it.
He's got probably a black card and a couple of stacks. How much is that, Paul?
It's $2,000.
Bam!
Aren't you impressed?
That's your street knowledge.
I passed my SAT.
You sure did. So this halftime show does bring me to a subject that I want to talk about that has something to do with the NFL, actually, and the black coaches and the hiring. The reason I like this halftime show the most is because that's kind of my culture. Period. That's the music I like. That's the music I loved. I love watching, growing up with these guys, with Snoop Dogg and those guys, and Dr. Dre, Eminem. I don't know Kendrick Lamar so much, and Mary J. Blige. She's good, but I grew up with these guys. So let's get back to that. That means I like surrounding myself with things that make me happy. Okay. Mm-hmm. I notice when I watch Saturday Night Live now, it sucks, to be honest with you right now, except there are some good times. And it's with cast members and it's with skits that have people that I like when Dave Chappelle came on. It was a great show. Mm-hmm. And it's only because I relate to those messages, period. Has nothing to do with anything else. If I grew up somewhere else, I'd relate to different messages. Mm-hmm. So these owners who are multi-billionaires, you got to remember that. We're on a whole nother level of financing and another whole level of thought. They don't think about electric bills. They don't think about milk. They don't think about stuff like that. Okay. Mm-hmm. So they hang out with the coaches because that's what they like to do. They like to go to their stadium. They have a $5 billion stadium. I mean, this is what this guy in LA has.
Right.
Okay. So what does he love to do? Hang out with the coach, the head coach only, not, the players sometimes, hey, but they come and go. They're like chess pieces.
Yeah.
Here it is. Football. They hang out with people they enjoy being with. And most of them are so wealthy and are older, did not grow up around black people. Mm-hmm. So they feel uncomfortable around black people. And so it's not racial so much as it is culture. The guy from Pittsburgh, he's been a coach for I don't know how many years.
Long time.
Because the owner likes him. They get along. They hang out. They boop, 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 boop. What do you think about all this, Doc?
Well, you tend to hang around people that you like and you relate to. I know there's a suit going on in the NFL about a lack of black coaches. I guess there are a couple that were hired. The optics are a little bit different when the majority of people, with the rhythm and the running are black down the field with, braids flying and all this other stuff, even covered up. You can just see the difference, just the difference in the running. So I don't know what will really change that. It takes a lot of money to have a sports franchise. So you might say, well, why don't some of the other players who got the economic resources put their funds together and buy a team, form a team, like a lot of groups do anyway. It's not typically one person that owns every team. You can be a minority owner. What's that? Less than 100%. You can have pieces of it.
Well, you tell me why we don't do that. I thought a long time ago, Oprah, Michael Jackson, Bill Cosby, I'm sorry to say, but back then, they were very wealthy at one time. Well, both of them, Oprah still lives. But my point being, if they pulled that kind of big money together, if all football players pooled their money together, or get like 20 of them, pulled some big money together, they could buy a hockey team. If the baseball players they're making $200-300 million. If they pulled, I know that there are tax benefits in all this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that it takes, if you want to make change, make change. We're not talking about broke people here anymore. Right. We're not talking about people, donating $1 at church anymore.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. But
we're talking about very wealthy human beings who might, the greed thing might be there sometimes. But you are 100% right. People who own these teams, there was a conglomerate usually that came behind them, because usually very wealthy people don't use their money.
Mm-hmm. Use someone else's money primarily. And they may be, maybe sport, maybe a low priority, may have their money in other things. So we're saying, how about the sports team? And somebody at that stratospheric level, they're probably approached by people every second. Hey, I got something for you. I got something for you. To the point where they may even be just tuning stuff out. Everybody wants to sell you stuff. Look at the junk emails you get, the phone calls you get, the robo things. Everybody's kind of coming at you. So imagine if you had like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. You get everybody.
That's why you can't get to these people. They have people in front of them. You just don't walk right in front of them.
That's right. But
what do you think about the culture thing?
If you look at it, there is going to be a general culture difference. If you look at the average person, say, playing in the NBA or the NFL, where they come from, generally they're not from the upper strata, what you call the upper strata of American life that I've seen. There's some exceptions here and there, but a lot of folks come up real hard. And you talked about, football. Well, at the end of the Super Bowl, everybody's not going to be on that same LA Rams team. A lot of times those guys change every year. I don't think
it's a business.
Yeah, it's a business. I don't think Tom Brady played with the same team, same personnel year after year after year after year. I don't think so. Gronkowski and Edelman and some other names associated with him a few times. But the other folks, they're coming and going. Busted knee, busted this. He may have played a year or two or not at all. But the stars, the emphasis is always on the star, just like singers. You don't really know the background singers that kind of make it. Sometimes the background singers come out, they're better than the stars. But purpose of the background singer is to bring up the star. That's what you do. You sing with Cher, you sing with Michael Jackson. You just over there, you do your thing.
There are a lot of background performers who have outshined a star and gotten fired. A lot.
I've heard that.
Oh yeah, I've been around people like that.
People
don't like to be outshined. Jesse Jackson was like that. He used to come up to Ali's camp, and he didn't like being there that much because he wasn't center of attention. I ever tell you what Jesse did to me once?
You did. You're going to repeat it?
Well, he didn't do it personally, but he sent somebody. I spoke at Duke University in front of 8,000 people. It was a big crowd, one of my very first. And I thought I was rocking and rolling. And I swear somebody tugged on my flight suit and said, "The Reverend said you need to stop now, or you're not going to get paid." And it shook me to my, I wish that would have happened years later when I would have just busted him right then and there. But I didn't know how to react at that moment. But, what it is. It's part of my life. It's what made me better. Well, I want to talk about that little boy right there.
Yeah.
See that little boy right there?
Yeah. What happened to that little boy? He's
that little boy is the bomb. That little boy's Buddy Drew.
Oh, he's great.
That little boy is a very, very, very special little kid.
Yeah.
That boy was brought up. Matter of fact, I'll start off with the PSA. How about that?
Yes.
This is a Wingmen PSA. There is no black and white. There's only ignorance and intelligence. There is one race. It is called the human race. Melanin has nothing to do with change of attitude, people, or anything else. There is one race of people, the human race, and you're looking at the proof. There's been a Wingmen Show, PSA.
Yeah, good PSA. Your racial system is a social construct, like concrete's put together. But it's interesting looking at the little boy on the right, and well, you got the champ on the far left.
I don't know what you just said about racial thing. What was that?
Well, whatever the system. Who is?
No, there's a word in the English language called race. This is scientific. We're talking about the human race, one race. If we weren't one race of people, we couldn't procreate.
Right, cross species.
Very simple.
Cross species procreation. You can't do it.
There are parts of the world, like in Africa, like in Ireland, that people, like in Saudi, all kind of Middle Eastern, they look and believe in the same God, and they hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
There's no more difference in look, and they hate each other more than actually Americans, the ones who hate each other here. You know, the Hitsus and the Tutsis. I'm gonna tell you something. I saw a documentary. They said I'd rather be a slave for a white man than work for one of them. That's why I made a joke. I said, do you think Black Lives Matter T-shirts would work good there? But this is the truth. There were, the Irish and the Catholic and the Protestants in Ireland.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're talking about war.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
We're talking now in any of the Middle Eastern countries. They're all Muslims.
Mm-hmm. Right.
They're basically killing each other every day. It means nothing. They kill the nearest prey.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese, Japanese hate each other. Hate.
Yeah.
So anyway, I don't want to get too deep into that. I'm just telling you that little boy, there's proof of what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about a theory. My mother's a white Russian person, according to everybody in the world. My father's a black man from Florida. Okay? According to y'all, not you. Everybody else but you. But no kidding. That's my mother and father. I have no idea about what the hell people are talking about.
Right.
And I am raised and I am bicultural, which is actually a benefit. And I was raised with the thought that I'm actually better than white people or better than black people, which I had to get rid of. But that was from the love that I was given. So that, just to tell you about the picture, that's Liberace right there. That's Cassius Clay. That's Rudy Clay, which they have changed their names to Muhammad Ali and Rahman Ali and Liberace. I don't know who the guy behind me is. I have no idea, but that's little Buddy Drew. And what I wanted to end it up saying is that little Buddy Drew grew up to be somebody that rode a Palestine, rode a May Palestine, and Drew Bundini Brown Jr. would be very proud of. And I'm the little boy that they wanted me to be. I am not perfect. I haven't been perfect. But I'm a good person.
Yes,
I'm a good person.
You're definitely a good person. You're not perfect, but you're working on it.
No, I am actually, in the eyes of Shorty, I am perfect, if you want to get to that. And I needed all these ups and downs and rounds and bouts to actually be here in this moment. So actually, I am perfect. But it's not perfection according to maybe, normal is a button on a washing machine.
Yeah.
I don't know what normal is, but I'm damn sure not normal.
Well, I'm sure I agree, not normal. And I'm sure our listeners, when they review the Apple podcast, they'll talk about how perfect you are and how they think you're the bomb.
I doubt that. Please
remember the Apple podcast.
Yeah, that's a great one. Please review us. Hey, guess what? Guess what the new drug of choice is to sell in Mexico?
What's
new drug cartel.
Is it solid, liquid, or gas?
It is avocados.
Okay.
They have now somehow taken over the avocado industry, and now the U.S. has barred them from selling avocados to America, is why the avocado prices are going through the roof. And I have made this statement before. Drug dealers don't want to sell drugs. They want to make money. They would sell insurance if it could make them more money.
Yeah.
And once you start realizing that, you'll understand they're just illegal businessmen.
Yeah. Avocados, I think Mexico produces like it's like 50% of the world's avocados. And they
Yeah.
because of the shortages and stuff, avocado prices have like doubled in the last year. So there's like about there's a couple $1 billion in the avocado business now. So I
Yeah,
guess
it's
they want to feed them.
devastating Mexico's economy. It's devastating them.
Yeah. Now they stopped importing them to the U.S. because of some threats against some of the inspectors or something. So now that's driving the cartels are fighting each other for the control of what's going in. So it's not
Well,
just
guess what?
go.
Guess what, Dr. Paul? They might not have to fight for long because there's a mega drought happening. And people might not realize it depending on where you are, but it is the worst drought in the West in the last 1,200 years. And see, sooner or later, you won't be able to grow avocados. I mean, this is getting bad. And not only is there a mega drought, the sea is rising.
Hmm.
This stuff is really happening. And I think it rose in the past 30 years quicker than it rose in the last 100 or something like that. And it's getting quicker all the time. And
Yeah.
one day, a survivalist, I think Need to Know said this, you have to put a scuba gear into your survival little tent.
Unless you're in the mega drought. So basically, you got a problem with too little water and too much water. It's called an imbalance. Yeah, last time I was in Las Vegas, well, not the last time, but went to Lake Mead. And time before I went to Lake Mead was like 25 years earlier. And I noticed a difference in the amount of water. And that was some years ago. And that Lake Mead has a lot of water that goes to LA and a bunch of places. So I don't know. Now the melting sea caps, that's going to raise the sea level like a foot on the East Coast, maybe 2 feet in the Gulf Coast, and a little bit less on the West Coast. So it's going to be parts of the East Coast are going to be underwater. Well, flooded more casually. You got casual floods now. You're going to have more floods on nice days. So you're going to have to move in from your beachfront property, maybe waterfront property.
No, see, that's the problem. They're probably not going to have to. And that's what this mass thing is about. You're just splitting the people who care about others and the people who don't. And see, the people who are alive right now probably won't be affected more than the tornadoes that are happening now and the bad weather. They'll get killed, the forest fires and all that. But this is going to affect our grandchildren, our great grandchildren. Yes. You might not be able to repair the damage. So I think you need to think about that. You know what? Let's go to a good note here.
Okay.
Why don't you tell me about this wingman you're talking about, this big dude?
Yeah, this big dude, Andrew Whitworth. Big dude. I think he's like 6'3", he's 6'5" or so, maybe 350 pounds. A large man. And he is a wingman to a lot of people. He started his own foundation called the Big Wit 77 Foundation. And it's a foundation that helps with homelessness and getting homes for children and families who are having a hard time in the Los Angeles area. And he donates, I think, $20,000 after every one of his home games to this fund or another fund. And he also set up an association with the Habitat for Humanity. In addition to that, he's putting money into rebuilding efforts in the New Orleans area for homes that were damaged during Hurricane Ida. So he got the Walter Payton Award. He was selected out of 31 other NFL players who've done the most for community service. That's when you get the Walter Payton Award. And he beat out 31 other guys, and probably the other 30 people were doing excellent stuff too.
Maybe 100% they are. There's not a BS award.
Yeah, so nobody loses. There's no losers in that. He was just recognized, and he's 40 years old. I think he's the oldest guy. He's a tackle. I don't know which side tackle.
He is 40, and he just won the Super Bowl.
He won the Super Bowl, yeah, which is not bad. And he won. This happened just a few days before the Super Bowl, so he's probably feeling pretty good. It's pretty good sequence of events.
And he's talking about leaving, and with concussions and things like that, I think he has enough money to survive. I'll be honest with you. I love football. I'm a giant fan, but I'm going to tell you something. my Drew the fifth, I would encourage Drew the fourth to tell him not to play football. Getting hit in the head by these type of people now, they're way faster and way stronger than they used to be. It's just not funny anymore, and it's not worth a touchdown or all the money in China, we used to say.
Yeah, I don't know any football players who were damaged from CTE, but there's two or three fighters that I've run into a couple of times, and you could tell
Well, I grew up around fighters.
They've taken some shots in the head by the.
Okay.
Even though they have a coherent thought, the words will go to slow motion for a second and then come back. Then it'll go like this and back. Interesting. I've had conversations.
I grew up around fighters.
I'm sure you did.
All of them at one point as they age. They show, if they were big time fighters, they show the effects of their fighting. Just because they've been hit by big time people in the head repeatedly. And usually if you're a great fighter, you can take it, which really doesn't help you. See, Shorty kind of knocks you out because this shit is over. You don't need to get hit no more.
Right.
So, it's almost the opposite. He's a tough dude because he could keep getting hit in the head.
But the damage is continuing.
Working right. Yeah.
You pay for it later.
I hope we ended up on a good note.
Yeah. Andrew Whitworth, a good man.
He is. And you know what happens when Andrew hangs out with me?
What?
We're called Drew and Drew. Thank you once again, Dr. Paul Thompson, my friend. Thank you for your love, your time. And that's something that we won't ever get back. I want to thank all the listeners, too. Thank you so much for doing the show, Dr. Paul. We're jamming.
Well, thank you, Mr. Drew, for inviting me on. Always good to talk to you. And ladies and gentlemen, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this podcast or any of the podcasts. If you're looking at YouTube, they say smash the like button. Don't smash it. Just press it gently and use as a link to all your friends. You can also look at us on our website, wingmenshow.com, WINGMEN show, SHOW.com, altogether, wingmenshow.com. And we hope to see you in the future. Thanks again, Mr. Drew.
Oh, you're welcome. And we're still floating like butterflies and stinging like bees. Rumble, you badass jet pilots, rumble. May there be peace on earth, and goodwill towards all men and women.